welcome to LS Episode 8. This is the series in which we look at specific New Zealand locomotives that are unique, obscure, or otherwise interesting in some form or another. Previous subjects have been AB 608, this bizarre thing at the Taranaki Pioneer Village, DBR 1254, DC 4260, Y542, Baldwin Steam Tram number 100, and Hunslet DSA 551. Today's subject is this Niigata locomotive, which is currently based at the Goldfields Railway in Waihi. This thing is quite obscure, and there's not really a lot of information out there on her history, but here's what I've managed to find, and for reference, the information source is the New Zealand Rolling Stock Register website. If I remember, I'll put a link to that site in the description. She was built by the Niigata Engineering Company of Japan in 1983, originally for the Tasman Mill in Kawerau. On a personal note, whilst I have been to that yard in Kawerau before, as I was born in 2000, I never saw the Niigata running in her original habitat. Curiously, the engine only lasted 11 years in Kawerau before going to the Pacific Rail Trust in 1994. If anyone knows more about the PRT and what it was, please let us know in the comments. At some point in either the late 90s or early 2000s, she was transferred to Mainline Steam's Parnell Depot in Auckland. As some of you will know, the depot was demolished in 2015, and all the rolling stock based there had to be relocated. In the case of this Niigata thing, she was moved to the Glenbrook Vintage Railway and stored in the sidings at Puka o Ware. Weirdly, I do remember seeing the Niigata in Parnell, but for the life of me I can't find that picture anywhere. In July 2020, the engine was transferred again, presumably because the GVR must have needed more space to store their own rolling stock. This time, she went to the Goldfields Railway along with DSC 2338. Both the DSC and Niigata locomotives are owned by DBM Contracting, and the latter is sometimes used to haul the GR's passenger train. And on that note, let's finish the video by looking at some footage I've captured of the Niigata engine running at the Goldfields Railway. But before then, it's also worth mentioning the other Niigata engine, which is based at Mission Bush. Bizarrely, this thing's history and builder's number are unknown, but what I do know is that this and the one in Waihi are the only two Niigata locomotives in all of New Zealand. This scene is from December 21st, 2020, but on that day the Niigata was just sitting in Waihi Yard and not running. That day, the tiny A&G Price shunter from 1944 was hauling just one coach on the passenger service. Later on, in February 2021, the Niigata was actually in action and hauling the passenger service. Another strange aspect of this locomotive is that she has two different horns, one for each direction of travel, and for reference, the front end of this thing faces the Waihi end of the line, just like DSA 551.
Walker, that's Josh. I'll give Scotty some training.
Later in the day, I also caught the Niigata running alongside State Highway 2 on her way back from Waikino. Four months later, Goldfields held what they called their Winter Warmers Open Day. And care to guess what engine they had hauling the passenger train?
They'll just have to hit the teeth and they'll brush the bones back.
Oh, you need to brush the bones back. You need to have that.
Thank you for watching this semi-decent video about the ex-Tasman Niigata locomotive. Stay tuned for the next LX episode, in which we'll be focusing on DSC 2678. Hopefully. But as it stands now, I don't know when that video will be done, if at all. If anyone's curious, these are the remaining locomotives I've got lined up to take this series to at least 15 episodes. There's DSC 2678, DC 4853, the GVR's Malay number 4, EF 30007, DFB's 7049 or 7348, and EF 3192. If you have filmed any of the locomotives that I've just mentioned and would be okay with your footage appearing in this series, let me know in the comments. As for how to get that footage over to me, either Discord messaging or bog standard email should do the trick.